Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are tackling a feeling that I think pretty much everyone has experienced at some point in the last couple of years.
Oh, absolutely.
It's that sneaking suspicion that the world has suddenly just hit the fast forward button. You know, you look at the headlines and you see artificial intelligence plastered literally everywhere.
Everywhere.
You hear people talking about ChatGPT or learning algorithms, and you just have this moment of, well, let's call it what it is. It's panic.
Yeah, it's technological anxiety. It's the fear of obsolescence, really. It's that feeling that the train has completely left the station and you're still standing on the platform looking for the ticket booth.
Exactly.
And honestly, the media really doesn't help with this. They make AI sound like this magical, incomprehensible black box that you need a PhD in computer science to even look at.
All right, feels totally exclusive. But today, we are completely dispelling that myth for you. We're diving into a book that is basically the antidote to that anxiety. It's called The SeniorTechie Guide to AI for Seniors, and it's by Paul Wilczynski. That's Wilczynski. And I have to say, right off the bat, this is not a textbook.
Not at all.
It's not full of jargon. It really reads like a manual for navigating the modern world in plain English.
That is the perfect way to describe it. Paul Wilczynski has done something really important here. He's taken this massive, complex topic and just stripped away all the hype. He positions AI not as some, scary robot future that's coming to replace us, but simply as the next set of utilities.
Like electricity.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Just like the microwave or the internet or the smartphone. It's just a tool.
And just to be clear right up front, we are going to cover the big concepts today. But this book is packed with literal step-by-step guides, screenshots, and bolded checklists that we just can't visualize for you in an audio format.
We'd be here for hours trying to describe screenshots.
Right. So if you are listening to this and thinking, I need this roadmap, you can find it on Amazon. You just have to search for TheSeniorTechie. And that is all one word, TheSeniorTechie.
It's really a reference guide you'll want to keep on the desk. But let's dive right into the content, because Chapter 1 starts with a perspective shift that I think grounds the entire conversation.
Yeah, let's unpack this.
Yeah.
Because Chapter 1 is almost like a history lesson, which I definitely wasn't expecting. Wilczynski argues that we aren't starting from zero.
He does. And this is so crucial for confidence. He takes us all the way back to 1950, Alan Turing asking, can machines think? And then to 1956, at the Dartmouth Conference, which is where the term artificial intelligence was actually coined.
Which is wild to think about. I mean, we act like AI was invented last Tuesday, but they were discussing this when Elvis was on the radio.
Precisely. Wilczynski's point is that this isn't an alien invasion. It's a 70-year engineering project. But the real aha moment in Chapter 1 is how he distinguishes between rules and patterns. This is the key to understanding literally everything else in the book.
Right. Because I think most of us assume computers just follow a rigid list of instructions.
Yeah.
Like if I type A, the computer prints A.
And that's traditional software. That's a rule book. If this, then that. But Wilczynski explains that AI doesn't have a rule book. It has examples.
Okay, so how does he explain that?
Think of it like teaching a child to recognize a cat. You don't give the child a dictionary definition of a cat. You don't say 4 legs, whiskers, pointy ears, a tail.
Because a dolly has all those things too.
Exactly. You just show the child 50 pictures of cats and say, that's a cat. And eventually, the child, or in this case, the software, just figures out the pattern.
So it's learning by observation, not by instruction.
Exactly. And that shift, going from rules to patterns, is why AI can suddenly do things that used to be totally impossible for computers, like understanding a messy handwritten letter or recognizing a face in a crowd.
Which leads perfectly into Chapter 2. This was honestly my favorite part of the early chapters because it's so reassuring. It's called the AI you're already using without knowing it.
Oh, this is the you're already an expert argument. Wilczynski points out that if you've used Gmail in the last 10 years, you are already an AI user. Think about the spam filter. Gmail filters out something like 99.9% of spam. It doesn't do that because there's a guy at Google reading your mail.
Thank goodness for that.
Right. It does it because an AI has analyzed billions of emails and learned the pattern of a scam. It knows what a Prince from Nigeria email looks like. It knows the phrasing, the urgency, the sender's reputation. It's basically your invisible bodyguard.
I love that metaphor. But the example that really blew my mind in Chapter 2 is about photography. I've noticed my smartphone takes these amazing pictures, even better than my old expensive digital camera, but
Yeah.
I just assumed the lens was better.
It's actually not the lens. It's computational photography. Wilczynski breaks this down so beautifully. Imagine you take a picture in a dark restaurant. Your hand shakes a little bit. A normal camera would just give you a blurry mess. But your smartphone, when you press that button, it actually takes a burst of 8 or 10 photos in a split second. Some of them are taken before you even fully press the button.
Wait, okay, so it has 10 bad photos? How does that actually help?
Because the AI looks at all 10 images instantly. It grabs the sharpest eyes from frame 1, the best lighting from frame 3, the clearest background from frame 8, and then it stitches them all together into a single perfect composite image. It reduces the noise, corrects the color, and just presents you with the result.
So when I look at a photo I took and think, wow, I'm a great photographer, I'm actually just commissioning the AI to paint a picture for me.
Essentially, yes, you are the director and the AI is the entire camera crew. But Wilczynski's point here is what's vital. Did you have to go to AI school to use that camera?
No, I just press the button.
Exactly. You are already competent. You are already benefiting from the technology without needing to understand the underlying code.
That reframing really takes the fear out of it. It's just a tool that makes us look better. Now, moving on to Chapter 3, we leave the invisible stuff and start talking about the AI we actually have to interact with directly. Voice assistants. Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant.
This is where the interface completely changes. We're going back to the most natural interface humans have, which is our voice. Wilczynski notes the Star Trek inspiration here, the computer you can just talk to the air and it answers. But for seniors, he argues this isn't just some fun novelty. It's a massive accessibility breakthrough.
That makes total sense. If you have arthritis or tremors or if your eyesight is fading, typing on a tiny glass screen is incredibly frustrating.
Exactly. Voice just removes that barrier entirely. And the book addresses this head on. This is also where the privacy paradox really kicks in. I know so many people who refuse to have an Alexa in the house because they think it's recording their dinner conversations.
I was definitely one of those people. I always wondered, if it can hear me say Alexa, it must be hearing everything else too, right?
It's a very valid fear. But Chapter 3 explains the technology of the wake word, and I think this will put a lot of minds at ease for you listening. The device has a tiny memory buffer. Think of it like a tape recorder with a 3-second loop that is constantly recording and then erasing itself over and over. It processes sound locally on the device, just looking for one specific acoustic pattern. Alexa, or Hey Google.
So it's not sending anything to the internet until it hears that specific name.
Correct. Nothing gets sent to the cloud, to Amazon or Google servers, until that wake word pattern is triggered. It's not listening to you, it's listening for its name.
That distinction between local processing and cloud recording is huge.
It is. And once you get past that privacy hurdle, the book lists these incredible practical use cases. My personal favorite was the Find My Phone feature. It sounds so simple, but for a senior living alone, misplacing a phone can actually be a genuine safety issue. You can just yell, Alexa, find my phone, and it rings.
Or the medication reminders. Just saying, remind me to take the blood pressure pill at 8 a.m. It takes that mental load right off your shoulders.
It reduces cognitive load dramatically. You don't have to remember because the machine remembers for you. And that dovetails perfectly into Chapter 4, which covers the health revolution.
This was fascinating. We're moving from simple reminders to active monitoring. The section on fall detection really stood out to me.
It's an absolute game changer. The book explains how smartwatches use AI to distinguish between everyday movements and an actual fall. It uses an accelerometer and a gyroscope, which are sensors that measure speed and orientation. But the AI analyzes that data to distinguish between I sat down on the couch heavily and I collapsed on the floor and haven't moved.
That differentiation is critical. You definitely don't want the ambulance showing up just because you flopped onto the sofa after a long day.
Right. And Wilczynski explains that if it detects the fall pattern plus a period of no movement, it automatically initiates the call. It's a literal lifeline. He also discusses modern hearing aids, which use the same cocktail party effect logic we talked about with photography.
Oh, this was cool, how it separates the noise.
Yes. Standard hearing aids just amplify everything in the room, so clattering dishes are just as loud as the person sitting across from you talking. AI hearing aids sample the environment hundreds of times a second. They identify the specific frequency pattern of human speech and boost that, while actively suppressing the frequency of the background noise. It's actively filtering your reality in real time.
Wow. And then there's a telehealth aspect. Remote monitoring that can flag fluid retention in heart failure patients before they even feel sick. It really emphasizes that AI helps the doctor and the patient. It doesn't replace them, it just gives everyone better data.
Precisely. And Wilczynski even includes a list of specific questions in Chapter 4 to ask your doctor about these technologies, which I thought was a fantastic touch.
Okay, so we've got the helpful invisible AI and the helpful voice AI. But now, here's where we have to get serious. We have to talk about Chapter 5.
The safety chapter. Honestly, if you only read one chapter of the Senior Techie Guide, make it chapter 5.
This is where the tone of the book really shifts. We're talking about scams, and not just the old bad grammar emails from a fake prince. We're talking about AI-powered scams.
The game has changed completely. AI has removed all the things that used to give scams away. The typos, the weird accents, the generic messages. Now the threats are hyper-personalized and incredibly polished.
The one that terrified me was the grandparent scam using voice cloning.
It is genuinely terrifying. The book explains that scammers can take just 3 seconds of audio from a social media video, maybe a clip of your grandchild playing soccer or saying happy birthday on Facebook, and they use AI to clone their voice perfectly.
3 seconds. That's nothing.
That is literally all it takes to build a viable model now. So you get a call, and it sounds exactly like your grandson. He's crying, he's panicking. He says, "Grandma, I'm in trouble. I was in an accident. I'm in jail. Please don't tell Mom. Just wire money."
It weaponizes your love against you.
It completely bypasses your logic. It hits the emotional brain hard. Wilzinski breaks down the formula, which is urgency plus secrecy equals scam. If anyone ever tells you do this right now and don't tell anyone, that is the ultimate red flag.
But how do you actually defend against it if the voice is perfect? Because that sounds impossible to beat.
It's not impossible. Wilzinski gives a brilliant, totally low-tech solution: the family code word.
I love this idea.
It's totally free. You just agree with your family on a random word: purple hippo, pineapple, Tuscaloosa. It doesn't matter what it is. If you ever get a frantic call from a family member claiming to be in trouble, you just ask for the code word.
And the AI won't know it.
The AI won't know it. The scammer won't know it. The spell is broken immediately.
That is so simple and so effective.
It is. And he also suggests the pause and verify protocol. If someone calls demanding money right now, you hang up. You look up the number for the person or the institution yourself, and you call them back on a trusted line. You break the urgency loop.
That chapter alone is worth the price of the book. Again, if you want the detailed checklist on setting that up, search for The Senior Techie on Amazon. It could save you an absolute fortune.
Absolutely. It empowers you to stop being a soft target.
Moving on to something a bit more optimistic, let's talk about the chatbots. Chapter 6, 7, and 8. This is the stuff that's been in the news constantly. ChatGPT, Gemini, Copilot.
The generative AI. Wilzinski has a great way of describing ChatGPT in Chapter 6. He calls it the neighbor who has read everything.
I really like that. Helpful, very knowledgeable, but maybe occasionally wrong.
Exactly. He tackles the concept of hallucination head-on. Because these systems are predicting words based on patterns, sometimes they confidently state facts that are just completely made up.
He tells the story of the lawyers who got in trouble.
Yes, the lawyers who used ChatGPT to write a legal brief, and the AI cited 6 court cases that didn't exist. It made them up because it sounded like plausible case names. The lesson Wilzinski drives home is to use it for drafting, for brainstorming ideas, for explaining complex things, but you always have to verify the facts.
But when it works, it really works. The book talks about prompting.
Right.
This is the skill of actually talking to the bot.
The context rule. This is key. Most people just type, write a letter. Wilzinski suggests giving it the who, what, and why, like, I am 72, I'm writing to my HOA about a fence dispute, and I want to be firm but polite. If you give it that context, the result is astounding.
It's like giving instructions to a really smart human assistant.
Yeah.
You have to be specific.
Precisely. And then he distinguishes between the different bots, which is really helpful because the market can get very confusing very fast.
So, Chapter 7 breaks down Google Gemini and Microsoft Copilot. How does he differentiate them?
Think of it in terms of ecosystems. The book explains that if you live in the Google world, meaning a Gmail, Google Docs, Android phones, then Gemini is your tool. It's integrated right in there, and it has the best access to real-time information directly from Google Search.
In Copilot?
Copilot is for the Microsoft Office crowd, if you use Word, Excel, Outlook. The book describes how Copilot can instantly draft emails for you or summarize a really long Word document. It's basically the office worker's best friend.
Then there's Chapter 8, Claude. I hadn't heard much about this one before reading the book.
Claude is fascinating. It's built by a company called Anthropic. Wilzinski positions Claude as the reader and writer. It's built with something called constitutional AI, which is heavily focused on safety and ethics. But its real superpower is its context window.
Which means what, in plain English?
It means it can hold much more information in its head at once compared to the others. You can upload a 30-page insurance policy PDF into Claude and say, read this entire thing and tell me exactly what it says about coverage for physical therapy.
Oh, wow, that saves hours of reading fine print.
It really does. It's the ultimate tool for the long document problem. So, to recap the toolkit, it's Gemini for real-time search, Copilot for office tasks, and Claude for heavy reading and writing.
It's so helpful to have them categorized like that. It stops it from just being a confusing cloud of tech buzzwords. So what does this all mean for you listening? We've gone from invisible AI to voice assistants, we've dodged some really scary scams, and now we're chatting with supercomputers.
If we connect all of this to the bigger picture, Wilczynski's core message is really about agency.
How so?
He argues that AI is here, it's not coming in the future, it's here right now, and you have choice. You can ignore it and feel increasingly isolated from the modern world, or you can pick up the tools that make sense for your life. You don't have to become a coder, you don't even have to love the technology, you just have to use it where it helps you.
And he makes it so accessible. It's about using AI to keep your independence, to protect your family from bad actors, to get better healthcare outcomes.
Exactly. And here's a final thought to mull over, which Wilczynski touches on at the very end. In a world where an AI can answer almost any factual question instantly, the most valuable skill isn't knowing the answer anymore. It's knowing what to ask.
This human element.
The human element, your life experience, your wisdom, that is what guides the AI. The machine is just the engine. You are the pilot. It needs you just as much as you might think you need it.
I think the final verdict from us is pretty clear here. This book is the manual. It completely transforms AI from a source of anxiety into a source of power.
Absolutely. And remember, the book is called The Senior Techie Guide to AI for Seniors. The author is Paul Wilczynski.
If you want the detailed prompts we talked about, the step-by-step safety checklists for your family, and the guides on how to actually set up those health monitors on your watch, go to Amazon right now. Search for TheSeniorTechie. That is all one word. It's a very small investment for a massive amount of peace of mind.
And it's a pretty great way to show your grandkids you're actually way ahead of the curve.
I love that. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Search for TheSeniorTechie on Amazon. Get smart, stay safe, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye, everyone.